According to Sanskrit text, Krishna, seen here, an avatar of the Hindu god Vishnu, once hoisted a mountain overhead to shelter people and cattle from a mighty storm brought upon them by Indra, the god of rain and lightning, whom Krishna had angered. At the time, the dark-skinned god was just 8 years old, and after this feat, his fellow villagers came to recognize him as a divinity. So around the year 600, a sculpture was created of Krishna for the temple site of Phnom in southern Cambodia to honor this feat. Here's a photo of the northeast peak of Phnom in southern Cambodia, Takeo province, that was taken in 2019 by Konstanty Kulik. So this sculpture had become one of the central works of the Cleveland Museum of Art's Southeast Asian sculpture collection. It depicts the boy god standing larger than life within an integral stone niche, pressing the weight of the mountain overhead with his left hand. Some Cleveland Museum of Art museum goers may remember this sculpture on view for decades at the CMA as standing securely on complete stone legs and feet with his arm raised into thin air. Today, after 7+ years of research, international collaboration, and conservation treatment, the sculpture looks very different. In a dramatic change, the lower base and parts of the leg have been removed, and a large upper section showing the top of the stone niche and the figure's left hand has been added, as you can see here. Here's a picture of Curator Sonya Rhie Mace on the left, and Mark Griswold, faculty director at the Interactive Commons on the right, viewing a test model of the Krishna statue's fragments through this technology which we'll hear about called HoloLens 2. So the story of the Cleveland Krishna spans many centuries, the past 100 years being especially action-packed. It's a fascinating story that included the team working in the galleries of the National Museum of Cambodia in Phnom Penh to capture photogrammetry of each sculpture. Easy for me to say. Here is Sonya Rhie Mace, the George P. Bickford Curator of Indian and Southeastern Asian Art, giving a little background. Sorry for the poor lighting, I couldn't use flash in the exhibit.
You know, for a layperson, we don't really understand some of the things that go into this, and how many, well, for this, hundreds and thousands of years to get to this point.
Yes.
And it's an aspect of museum work and curating that we just don't think about. Tell us about some of the processes. This is such a coup for Cleveland to do this, have this.
Oh, it is, and we had no idea we would even get to this place when we started. You know, we expected we would do a nice, tight little focus show on this beautiful masterpiece from early Cambodia, but then as we started working with colleagues in Cambodia, from the French School of the Far East, in residence in Cambodia, conservators, scientists, so across disciplines, across nations, we all brought our resources and our knowledge together, and we all learned so much more than we ever expected we could.
Is this typical for museums and countries to work together like this? You'd think there'd be more competition and, you know, maybe not the professional courtesy that we've seen in this example.
Oh, I'm sure there have been collaborations in the past, but this one, there's something special here, just because of the history of this particular object. For one thing, the site it comes from is so important because it's so early. It's 500 years before Angkor Wat, so it's from a time period that is very rare and very precious, and that barely exists anymore, just in vestiges on the site. And at this important site, there are only 8 sculptures that have been found, and they're monumental, and they're of astonishingly high quality for such early works. It's almost like the first flush of inspiration was just the grandest in terms of figural sculpture. And so there are only 8 objects. 6 are in the National Museum in Cambodia, 1 at the Musée Guimet in Paris, and then in Cleveland. And so we all had this responsibility to work together to try to bring these broken masterpieces, that pieces of them were found at different times, at different eras, sent to different places, so to really work together to figure out how they go together. And so we're very fortunate that here in Cleveland we had the resources to present the fruits of our research.
So the work has finally come to fruition, and the Cleveland Museum of Art is able to present Revealing Krishna, Journey to Cambodia's Sacred Mountain. It's an amazing exhibition and well worth a visit, or even more than one. So when you enter the exhibit, you go through a space called the Journey to Phnom. This immersive panoramic footage and soundscape were captured via boat and drone, and it takes visitors through the canals of southern Cambodia. This is a Cleveland Museum of Art photo. Let's take a look inside. As you walk in, there's these huge screens with motion, 3D actually coming towards you, showing Cambodia. Here's a photo of CMA Chief Digital Information Officer Jane Alexander on the left and Curator Sonya Mace on the right, viewing a prototype of the journey. You really can't get a good feel for it in pictures. You have to experience it yourself. So as you go through the exhibit, you'll see several rooms of sculptures such as these. This is a perfect sculpture for selfies, and yes, I had to succumb to that. But you'll go through rooms and see some great pieces and experience the whole exhibit. But near the end of the exhibit, you'll enter a room with a digital rendering of the gods of Phnom Da. So this digital gallery displays life-size 3D models of the 8 gods of Phnom Da, circa 600, with motion-activated animations exploring details and iconographic elements. It's pretty cool. At the very end of the exhibit is an immersive audio-video timeline called Gods of Phnom Da Global Journeys. It traces the discovery and disposition of the 8 gods of Phnom Da as affected by global events and the works of museums. Here's a quick video clip of it.
The museum's honor describes the relevance for these sculptures continue to contribute many important resources of art and effort to restore the and these institutions pledge to share with the world all that they learn about the gods of Phnom.
Here's a photo of the curator, Sonya Rhie Mace, on the left, and the author, Luang Ong, on the right, in the studio recording narration for the immersive timeline. Actress Angelina Jolie recorded her portion of the narration in Los Angeles. So in this next clip, Curator Sonya explains the connection with Luang and Angelina Jolie.
Well, I reached out to her, and actually it was our performing arts curator, Tom Welsh, who invited her here to give a talk when he did a film event, and I met her then. We both gave an introduction about Cambodia to the audience, and we stayed in touch over the years, and I reached out to her when I knew that this exhibition was going to happen, and asked her if she would like to be involved, and then she brought Angelina Jolie to come and visit the conservation lab and see the work we're doing, because Angie is so invested in Cambodia as well. And so they're both doing the narration for our final timeline film in the exhibition, so we're so excited.
But I saved one of the best parts for last, so put your helmet on. And this is one of the many VR type helmets that they have available for you. Here's a quick video introduction. So one of the coolest things of this Krishna exhibit at the Cleveland Museum of Art is telling the story of the Cleveland Krishna with a Microsoft HoloLens 2 mixed reality tour. So what you do, it's a timed tour, and you come through and you can see all these VR helmets here. And they will set you up with it. And it's an 11-minute mixed reality tour. It's got 6 stops. And you put it on, you can adjust how you turn your head is what you see. So you can actually turn it all the way around, or you can go up and down or look to the left and right, and you'll see different things. And you'll go through, and there's these little footprints on the ground. See these footprints? And you will put your feet on those.
and that will point you in the direction of what you're going to see. So as you can see, you start here and they get you all set up with make sure the helmet's working right. And then you face this and then you see this incredible mixed reality tour with Microsoft HoloLens 2. And you will see holograms and hear things, and it's really, really impressive. You hear the whole story in 11 minutes. It's really worth seeing. So, great technology here at the Cleveland Museum of Art once again.
I couldn't get photos or videos while wearing the headset, of course, but trust me, it's a very cool experience. Here's a CMA photo of the cave that you walk into, and yes, you have to walk into it. It's kind of a trip if you're not used to VR. What a blast. You actually walk through that hologram cave door, and then you can look all around the room and up and down and left and right and behind it, and it's just a very cool experience. So let's hear the curator talk about it a little.
This is, I think, the HoloLens tour. It really gives you a tour where you can walk through the life story of the object, and it's so complicated because it was found in different pieces at different times, different things happen to it, and it also helps understand how easy it is to get confused. You know, there are two Krishnas lifting Mount Govardhan at the same site, and they're all broken in pieces, and they're basically the same size and the same style, so it was very easy to get things mixed up when you don't have the opportunity to work together across borders. That was the 70s when Cambodia was completely shut down because of the Khmer Rouge at that time. So, and then there was more than 10 years of civil war after that. So it really shows the effects of what happens to cultural heritage during times of war, in contrast to times of peace when we have good diplomatic relationships and open communication.
So there's a lot more to experience with Revealing Krishna. It's really worth a visit. You go to clevelandart.org to reserve a ticket, and it's if you're anywhere near Cleveland or can travel in, it's really worth something to see, and you won't be sorry.